I need to tell you about a subterranean vault that held more influence over your gas prices, your cybersecurity, and your digital life than any corporation on Earth, and we have just turned it into a massive, smoking tomb. While Congress was arguing about domestic budget resolutions, and while the media was obsessing over daily political theater, a highly classified military excavation team was quietly pulling the remains of the most dangerous men on the planet from a smoldering crater in the Middle East. Let us show you what we just discovered beneath the ashes of tyranny. We are speaking to you today with an urgent historic briefing. U.S. wipes out Iran regime's entire leadership, more commander bodies being found. Let us repeat that title so you understand the absolute gravity of this moment. U.S. wipes out Iran regime's entire leadership, more commander bodies being found. I am Pete Hegseth, speaking to you directly from the Pentagon as your Secretary of Defense. What we are about to show you connects the highest echelons of a collapsed theocracy directly to a coordinated multi-billion-dollar plot to destroy your way of life. The war has begun, but it is a war of liberation, and the enemies of democracy have just suffered the most catastrophic defeat in modern military history. Let me explain what is really happening here on the ground, because the world you woke up to this morning is permanently, undeniably different. As your Department of Defense representing an administration that is deeply, fundamentally committed to the preservation of human rights, global democracy, and the protection of the working class, we have monitored the escalating horrors of Tehran for years. We have watched them brutally suppress women, execute college students, and funnel billions of dollars into proxy terrorist groups to destabilize the free world. We promised that we would not drag the United States into another endless, bloody ground war. We promised that we would not sacrifice thousands of American soldiers to occupy a foreign desert. Instead, we used overwhelming, untouchable surgical technological supremacy. 48 hours ago, our B-2 stealth bombers dropped a 5,000-pound bunker buster directly onto Site 414, the subterranean fortress of the Iranian High Command. Today, the smoke is cleared. Our forensic teams are on site, and what they are uncovering is going to shock the entire world. What most people do not realize is the sheer devastating scale of the decapitation strike we just executed. Let me break this down for you, because this is where the reality of modern geopolitical combat completely shifts. When the bunker buster penetrated 150 feet of solid granite and detonated, it did not just disrupt their communications. It completely vaporized the central nervous system of the Islamic Republic. As of 0600 hours this morning, our forward reconnaissance teams, operating alongside newly liberated Iranian democratic forces, have breached the lower levels of the destroyed bunker. We are officially confirming that we have wiped out their entire leadership. More commander bodies are being found by the hour. We have visually identified the remains of the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the supreme commander of the Quds Force, and the top 12 clerics of the Emergency Leadership Council. They are gone. They have been permanently erased from the battlefield. This is where it gets concerning for any dictator currently clinging to power across the globe, and profoundly inspiring for the defenders of democracy. We are a nation founded on the absolute belief that all human beings deserve to live in freedom. For years, the Iranian regime operated with absolute impunity, believing that the democratic world was too fractured, too weak, and too hesitant to hold them physically accountable. They believed our commitment to international law and human rights was just empty political rhetoric. By systematically wiping out their entire high command in a single stroke, we proved that the defense of democracy is a physical, undeniable, apocalyptic force. We did not negotiate with the terrorists who were murdering their own citizens. We buried them under their own fortress. But it gets worse for the remnants of the regime. Here is where things get really interesting, and why you need to pay very close attention to this part. As our teams excavate the rubble, they are not just finding the bodies of the generals. They are recovering the contents of their reinforced command safes. We have just secured over 10 terabytes of heavily encrypted hard drives that survived the blast. And what is on those hard drives connects directly to you, the American citizen. We uncovered a finalized, fully funded operational blueprint to launch a catastrophic cyber attack on the United States electrical grid. They were planning to plunge American hospitals, schools, and water treatment facilities into total darkness. They were preparing to freeze the bank accounts of millions of American citizens to create mass panic. The men whose bodies we are pulling from the rubble were days away from attempting to destroy the American economy. Now, watch how this connects to the global stage. We also recovered physical manifests proving that the generals buried in Site 414 were actively coordinating the shipment of highly advanced ballistic missiles to the Russian Federation. They were acting as the primary arsenal for autocracy, supplying the weapons that were killing innocent civilians in democratic Ukraine. By eliminating these commanders, we did not just secure the Middle East, we permanently severed the supply line to the Russian military. The Russian generals are waking up today realizing that their most reliable source of lethal technology has been completely obliterated by American precision. We have crippled two authoritarian regimes with a single, highly precise, tactical stroke. The global axis of tyranny is collapsing before our very eyes, and the architects of that tyranny are leaving in body bags. Think about what this actually means for the citizens of Iran who have suffered under this brutality for 45 years. A massive mutiny in Iran has completely overwhelmed the remaining internal security forces. When the news broke that the entire high command had been wiped out, and when the images of the commander bodies being pulled from the rubble were broadcasted across our secure satellite networks, the psychological grip of the regime evaporated in an instant. The young men in the regular army realized that the ruthless generals who had ordered them to shoot protesters were dead. Entire divisions of the Iranian military are currently abandoning their posts, throwing down their weapons, and joining the massive crowds of civilians in the streets. The enforcers of the regime are surrendering to the university students they were oppressing just 3 days ago. And this is not conspiracy theory, this is documented historical fact playing out live on your television screens. The citizens of Tehran, of Isfahan, of Shiraz are tearing down the massive billboards of the supreme leader. They are physically dismantling the surveillance cameras that the regime used to track down women who refused to wear the compulsory hijab. They are breaching the notorious Evin prison and liberating thousands of political dissidents. Justice has been done for Mahsa Amini, for the brave women, and for the courageous young activists who were brutally murdered by the morality police. The theocratic fascism that terrorized a brilliant historical culture is being replaced by the messy, beautiful, undeniable power of a populace demanding their democratic rights. We must address the hysteria that is currently circulating on some media networks. There are those who will look at this massive, decisive, kinetic strike and claim that World War III begins today. They will try to tell you that by wiping out the leadership of a sovereign nation, we have invited a global apocalypse. They will use over-the-top hysteria to generate fear, claiming that we have destabilized the world. Do not believe the hysteria. Maintain your critical thinking. The reality is the exact opposite. Weakness invites aggression. Propping up dictators and ignoring human rights abuses in the name of false stability is what causes global conflicts. By demonstrating undeniable apocalyptic strength against the absolute core of global terrorism, we have actually prevented a massive regional war. We've eliminated the threat without deploying a single American combat brigade into the streets of Tehran. Let me break this down for you regarding your own personal financial security, because this is where the impact hits your hometown. You might wonder why the bodies of Iranian generals pulled from a bunker matter to your daily life or your bank account. The leadership we just wiped out was actively finalizing a plot to mine the Strait of Hormuz. They wanted to sink commercial oil tankers, completely disrupt the global energy markets, and cause the price of gasoline in the United States to skyrocket to catastrophic levels. They wanted to engineer a historic economic crisis that would crush the American middle class, drive up inflation, and destroy your purchasing power. They wanted to impoverish the American working class to punish us for our democratic values. By executing this decapitation strike, we have entirely secured the global supply chains. We have protected the American economy from foreign sabotage. We have ensured that no foreign dictator can ever hold your financial security hostage. We did this because defending democracy is not just about writing strongly worded diplomatic letters. It is about taking decisive, overwhelming action to keep your family safe, your economy stable, and your future secure from malicious, unseen actors. We have surgically removed an economic tumor that was threatening the prosperity of every working-class family in America, and we did it with absolute, terrifying precision. The supreme leaders of Iran made a fatal miscalculation that cost them their regime and their lives. They believed that the American people were too divided by internal politics to unite against a common enemy. They watched our vigorous democratic debates on television and mistook our freedom of speech for weakness. They did not understand that our right to protest, our right to vote, and our right to fiercely disagree with one another are exactly what make us the strongest, most resilient, and most innovative nation on the face of the earth. When the core principles of our democracy and the safety of our citizens are threatened by a foreign tyrant, We unite with a terrifying, unified resolve. We send the best aviators in the world, carrying weapons that can crack open a mountain, to deliver absolute justice. Do not look away from the screens tonight. You are going to see historical footage that will be remembered for centuries. You are going to see millions of Iranians dancing on the ruins of the Revolutionary Guard headquarters. You are going to see the ultimate triumph of human freedom over religious extremism. Iran has fallen. But let us be perfectly clear. It has not fallen to foreign conquerors who wish to occupy their land. It has fallen to its own magnificent, unstoppable people, supported by the protective, untouchable umbrella of American technological superiority. The people of Iran are reclaiming their nation, and the United States of America is standing shoulder to shoulder with them in spirit and in strength. It is finally over. The decades of hostage-taking, the state-sponsored hijackings, the relentless funding of proxy wars that have destabilized the entire region and cost countless innocent lives is all coming to a rapid, violent, and definitive conclusion. We have given the scattered remnants of the Iranian military command a very simple, non-negotiable choice: surrender unconditionally to the Transitional Democratic Civilian Council or join your generals in the rubble. Every time a rogue commander attempts to mobilize heavy armor against the civilian protests, another bunker buster will fall from the stratosphere. We have essentially placed a permanent, impenetrable ceiling of advanced weaponry over the entire country to protect the democratic transition. It is finally happening. The regime is completely collapsing from the inside out, faster than any intelligence agency on Earth predicted. The politicians who have rubber-stamped the executions of thousands of innocent people over the last 40 years are now frantically trying to flee the country in disguise. They are driving to the airports with suitcases full of stolen currency, only to find that the massive mutiny in their own military has resulted in the runways being blocked by their own deserted tanks. There is no escape for the architects of terror. More commander bodies are being found, and the ones who survived the blast are being arrested by their own citizens. We have trapped the tyrants inside their own collapsing fortress. This is the end of the Islamic Republic as a military and ideological threat to the free world. We have systematically defanged the most dangerous rogue state in the Middle East without putting a single American infantry division on the ground. We have utilized American ingenuity, American aerospace dominance, and American scientific brilliance to create a weapon system that protects human life by decisively eliminating those who seek to destroy it. We have proven that our commitment to international peace is backed by the most devastating arsenal in human history. We are standing at the absolute precipice of a new era of global stability, one where dictators are put on permanent notice that the free world will no longer tolerate their existence. As we move forward into the coming days, the United States will boldly lead a massive coalition of democratic nations to support the transition of power in Tehran. We will provide extensive humanitarian aid. We will ensure that internet access remains completely open for the Iranian citizens through our low Earth orbit satellite networks, and we will help them build a transparent, free, democratic society. We will work closely with our European allies, our partners in the Indo-Pacific, and every single nation that values human dignity over autocratic control. We are empowering the citizens of oppressed nations to liberate themselves, knowing that the United States stands behind them with untouchable overwatch. The end of Iran as a state sponsor of terrorism is playing out live on your television screens. The threat of a nuclear-armed rogue state holding the global community hostage has been entirely neutralized. The nuclear enrichment facilities at Natanz and Fordow are completely dark today because the generals who held the launch codes have been permanently removed from the battlefield, and their bodies are currently being cataloged by our forensic teams. We have eliminated the global threat. We have protected our allies in the region, and we have done it while completely upholding our democratic values. So ask yourself, who is really in control here? Is it the loud, angry dictators who try to rule through fear, surveillance, internet blackouts, and religious extremism? Or is it the democratic nations of the world quietly innovating, building unbreakable alliances, and preparing to defend our shared values with absolute unyielding precision? The destruction of the Iranian terror apparatus over the last few hours answers that question permanently. And this is just what we know about publicly. The capabilities we have demonstrated today are only a fraction of what we have developed to protect the free world and secure our homeland. We will continue to monitor the situation with absolute vigilance. We will continue to protect our allies. We will continue to stand as the undisputed arsenal of democracy. The adversaries of freedom thought they could outsmart us. They thought they could bleed the democratic world dry through 1,000 proxy wars and shadow economic sabotage. They were wrong. The question is not if this absolute demonstration of American strength will affect the global balance of power. The question is when the rest of the world's dictators will finally realize that their time is up. It is just the beginning of a new century of democratic resilience. We have permanently changed the rules of the geopolitical game. The shadows are lifting. The iron grip of tyranny has been pulverized by American resolve, and the bodies of the tyrants are being pulled from the ashes. May God bless the United States of America. May God protect our democratic allies across the globe. And may God bless the incredibly brave, unyielding citizens of Iran who are finally taking their beautiful country back. The dawn of a free world is upon us. Game over.